So, on January 20th, I was laid off from a job that I really, really liked. I worked with some really awesome people, and it was a job that I thought I could really see myself growing into, really expanding on my knowledge and really seeing how high I could grow within the company and, try other things. January 20th, the company announced company-wide layoffs, and I didn't. I thought an anvil had landed on my chest. I'd never been laid off before. I've been let go from jobs for one reason or another, whether it's mistakes or what have you. But I've never been laid off. It was never about like my performance or my inability to do the job. It was just, hey, people many layers above you decided that for budgetary reasons this has to happen. And I've been spending the last 2 weeks trying to figure out what my next step is. I've been doing this kind of work, not camera, YouTube stuff, but what I've been doing for the last 15 years consistently. Like I haven't had like an actual break in over 15 years. And that dawned on me the other day, and I was like, I don't know what to do with myself, you know? I kind of wonder if this is what retirement feels like. But I'm just been thinking the last 2 weeks, like, what is my next step? What do I want to do? And just trying to figure out like what's going to be my next move. Whether it's I stay in the field that I've known for the last 15 years, or do I do something completely different, like a complete 180 and just kind of see what happens. There's pros and cons to this. If I stay within the field I know, there's at least a few guarantees with this. One, I know I can do the job, but it's not exactly mentally satisfying. It's very repetitive, and unfortunately, in this AI world that we live in, it's going to be eventually taken over by AI, or it's going to be outsourced, or a combination of the two. So I have that to think about. Plus, it's very much like it's in demand, but not in the way you think it is. And like there are satisfying things about doing my job and everything. I get to help people and explain why programs and applications do what they do, and how you fix them and everything. But 9 times out of 10, it's very repetitive. It's explaining to someone why Outlook doesn't work correctly. Hashtag blame Microsoft. So there's that. I know I can do the job. I know I can go back to it and thrive and hopefully make the kind of money I was before. But it's gonna be just circling the drain eventually, and I kind of think where things are going right now. The other thing that I'm thinking about is like, if I do a 180 and I do something completely different, whether like I don't know what, I genuinely don't know. I have a lot of interests, and I have a lot of things I'm passionate about, but how do you turn at least for me, how do you turn hobbies and passion into something that you get, paid for and that you genuinely enjoy doing? And it kind of goes back to that, if you what is it like, if you work, or if you get paid for doing something you love, it's not work. I probably have that wrong. Anyways, I'm just trying to figure out like what my next step is, and I'm at a crossroads where it's like I don't know what I want to do. I genuinely don't. But when I graduated school, I thought, get your degree, get your schooling done, and boom, you're off to the races. And that's not how that works. Not anymore. That's just the way things go. So yeah, I'm really trying to sort out like my feelings about like being laid off, and just trying to keep my mind occupied, trying to not stay still. And like I was telling my wife last night, I'm like, I'm actually going stir crazy. Like, I'm running out of things to do. Like, I can only do the dishes so many times. I can only do the laundry so many times before it's just like, okay, I'm it's like Groundhog Day all over again. It's just same thing. Long term end goal is, what do I want to do with my life? Like, I have goals of like owning a house, giving our dog the backyard he deserves, because we're in an apartment right now that has no fences, so we have to keep him on a leash outside. So I want to give him a backyard, place where he can just run and run and run. Travel. I want to, I want my wife and I to have adventures, but like, how do I accomplish that, especially in today's absolutely insane world? And that's a whole nother can of worms that mentally I don't want to get into right now. So yeah, I'm trying to figure out what my next step is. And like, I have help and support from my friends and family, which I am grateful for, but ultimately it's on me to determine like what my next step is, and that's really hard to do. Like, it's a lot harder than I thought it was going to be. you know um you have a day job, you do the 9 to 5 grind, you do that every day, and yeah, you can't help but daydream like, oh, what would I rather be doing? Or, this isn't how I thought it would be. Now that I have all this free time, it's like I'd much rather have the stability of a 9 to 5 rather than looking at the prospect of just like not having anything. And that vision is becoming clearer and clearer to me. So I have a lot of things to figure out. A lot of it is scary, but I gotta really buckle down and see like what is next. Yeah, fun times.